Today we're going to be taking a tour of Ireland. First stop, Belfast, Ireland. And our first scheduled stop is going to be Titanic Belfast. It is a 6th-floor building that sits on the spot where the Titanic was constructed. Inside this building is where the story of Titanic is told, from the construction to the launch and eventual demise of the great ship. Our next stop is the #1 shopping area in Northern Ireland called Victoria Square. This has brought many major shopping and food brands to Northern Ireland for the first time. Not only does it bring in a large number of visitors for the shopping, but it also brings people there for the architecture, the biggest draw being the iconic dome. This dome is beautiful all of the time, but when nighttime comes, it lights up and becomes even more interesting to see. Our next stop is going to be at Giant's Causeway, and it is one that I am extremely interested in. This large beach tourist attraction is made up of basalt columns that you can actually walk out onto and explore. It is not at all man-made, and because of being a natural occurrence, it has been referred to as a mysterious geological formation. Our second stop is going to be in Donegal, Ireland, and our first scheduled stop in Donegal is going to be Glenvaugh National Park and Castle. Not only is there this extremely beautiful park that in itself is an amazing thing to see, but in the middle of this park is a grand castle. This adds even more interest into going because you are basically getting a 2-for-1 tourist stop. Our next stop is going to be a castle with an interesting history. Donegal Castle was originally built by Hugh O'Donnell. However, it had to be rebuilt in the 16th century because O'Donnell burnt it down. He said that he would rather have the castle non-existent than have it eventually fall into enemy hands. Our next stop is going to be at Rosnalaw Blue Flag Beach. Now, after researching the different beaches in Ireland, I figured out that I didn't want to leave without visiting this particular one. Rosnalaw is an amazingly beautiful beach that brings in thousands of visitors during the summer each year. It not only brings people in for the view, but also for its famous rolling waves that are produced there. This alone brings in surfers from all over the world. Our third stop is going to be in Wexford, Ireland, and our first scheduled stop is at the Irish National Heritage Park. If you have ever wondered what it would be like to live in ancient Ireland, this is a great stop for you. On a piece of land that is about 35 acres, there is about 9,000 years of Irish history. Here you can actually go and experience how back then people lived, worked, and worshipped. Our next stop is going to be at Hook Head Lighthouse. I have always wanted to go and take a tour of a lighthouse, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity. There is something that makes this lighthouse a little more special than others. This is one of the oldest working lighthouses not only in Ireland but in the entire world. Plus, it is one of the few that you can still go in and tour. Our next stop is going to be Dunbrody Famine Ship. This is a reproduction of an 1840s immigrant vessel that you can actually board and take a tour of. Once we are done on the actual ship, we can head up the dock and go to the Dunbrody Visitor Center, where the Irish America Hall of Fame is located. This Hall of Fame commemorates the critical contribution made by Irish men and women to United States history. Our fourth and last stop is going to be in Dublin, Ireland, and our first scheduled stop is at St. Patrick's Cathedral. This is not only the largest church in Ireland, but it is also their national cathedral. Aside from being a national representation of Ireland, it is an amazingly beautiful structure to be able to see in person, not just in pictures. Our next stop is at Dublin Castle. There are other castles that we will be visiting on our tour of Ireland, but I admit that I am probably most looking forward to Dublin. This castle has been referred to as the Irish stew of castles because by the looks of it, everything is kind of thrown together. You can go to one area of the castle and everything is very modern looking, and then when you go to a different area, it looks like it's from the 16th century. Our next stop is going to be at the National Museum of Decorative Arts and History. This stop is a museum that contains a very eclectic collection of decorative and historical items. It is the museum that has the first Irish collection that features military history, so it is sort of making history itself. However, not everything here is entirely having to do with Irish history. You can be on your tour of the museum and go from looking at an exhibit of Irish country furniture or Irish coins to an exhibit that contains samurai armor. Like I said, eclectic, right? Our last scheduled stop in Ireland is going to be at the Guinness Storehouse. Now how could we come all the way to Dublin, Ireland, and not go to where they brew Guinness beer? First on the agenda would be to take a tour of the brew house and get to see the whole brewing process that they use to make their beer. The best part of the tour, though, is after it's over you get a free pint and get to enjoy it in their gravity bar. I couldn't think of a better way to end an amazing trip. So that is our tour of Ireland, and I hope that it inspires you to create your own dream vacation and hopefully be able to use all of the plans that you make.